Good evening, everyone. Chris Schultz here with FridayNightVictors.com, along with my partner, Gary Hoff. Gary, how you doing?
Fantastic.
This
Quality. I'm doing quality.
Quality. This is not Gary's basement, as you can tell.
Yeah.
This is the Quality Inn in Monroe, and we're in their Lake Erie conference room here doing our show. They're one of our prime sponsors. We wanted to make sure we got the word out on them, that they host family reunions, class reunions.
I think there's a family reunion going on out there
There's
right
something
now.
going on in the bar out there right now. They've got a pool here.
A 60 and over reunion.
Yeah, it looks like a 60 and over reunion. The bar's packed. We were going to film out in front of the fireplace out there, but we're here in the Lake Erie room, but they're one of our sponsors. But anyways, we're going to do our Week 5 wrap-up, where we're going to talk a little bit about the games, but we do appreciate the Quality Inn in Monroe letting us film here. I'm going to throw my glasses on because I got to be able to read what's going on here. It was a pretty good week. Gary went 7-2. I went 6-3. We'll talk about which game he got right and which game I didn't get right.
Yes, we will.
But anyways, we'll save that for later because we are going to have a special guest on to talk about that game.
The voice of Monroe. We'll leave it at that.
The voice of Monroe.
The voice of Monroe.
Talking about the SMCC Huron game. Let's go to a couple of games that were played on Saturday afternoon. First, let's go over Bedford and Ann Arbor Pioneer. 29-27. Kicking Mules win that game. A little closer than we expected. Maybe Pioneer's a little bit better than we've expected, but a good win for the Kicking Mules. Thoughts there?
Yeah, well, Pioneer beat Monroe pretty good last week, so that gave us an indication that Pioneers, they're improving, it seems, throughout the year, which is what you aim for, obviously, if you're a coach or a team. But, I thought Bedford would hold them down a little bit more. Their defense is really good. But
yeah, I'm surprised Pioneer scored that many points on that. But it's a victory
yeah,
for
I got
Bedford.
the victory.
So
good win.
They moved to 4-1. Next was the Monroe Trojans traveled to Ann Arbor Huron, home of the River Rats, and the score was 62-6. That makes Monroe 3-2. The River Rats are an impressive 0-5. I believe they've lost 25 straight games now.
I just don't know what the heck is going on over in here. I know they had a great coach in Gildersleeve, SMCC graduate, state champion in 1991.
Of course he was. Everybody graduated from there.
But yeah, he couldn't get it right over there either. 3 wins over there is a good season. So
yeah, and the ironic thing was they were celebrating the 20th anniversary of their 1997 state championship over there at Ann Arbor Huron. But anyways, big win for Monroe, 62-6. I don't think there's anything we can really say about that.
They had a few guys with real good games.
Jared Banks.
Yeah, he's up on our poll. Check out our poll in the upper left of our website. Don't vote in the comment section. That's not going to get you a vote. Vote in the poll, which is in the upper left of the site. And Malik Linton had another nice game as well.
Okay.
So they got things rolling. 3-2 is Monroe, and looking to get to 4-2.
Okay, next we move over to the LCAA, where we had Erie Mason hosting Hudson, and the Eagles lost that game 72-12. Thoughts?
Yeah. Building for the future are the Eagles. Their 7th and 8th grade teams are undefeated. And
they don't have a JV, unfortunately.
They have one team, and then the 7th and 8th grade team. But they play a lot of freshmen, and freshmen aren't going to beat 12th graders. I don't care how good they are.
I think that probably the goal there, unfortunately, was just to get out of there healthy. And
right.
I'm assuming they did that. We didn't hear anything.
Hudson's a team that has a shot to get to possibly Ford Field, certainly to win a regional. They're very good this year.
Yeah, and I think they're a team that will probably end up at Ford Field. Elsewhere in the LCAA, we had the Ida Blue Streaks at Dundee. Ida won on the road, 16-6, and it was 16-0 at one point, and probably a little lower scoring than I would have anticipated. And you and I both picked Dundee in that game, and the Blue Streaks just keep winning. They're 4-1 while Dundee has slipped to 2-3 and really on the verge of they have to win out really to get in the playoffs. And I think Ida might be a tough team to beat.
Well, you got to give the credit to Coach Potter.
Yeah.
His first year head coach. We have a few of them doing pretty darn well. We have 6 new head coaches, and several of them are doing great. Ida, just carrying over. Success sometimes just carries over from year to year. Your kids expect to win, and I think Ida shows up expecting to win. The great community of Ida. And but you got to give it to Coach Potter. His kids are ready to play every single week.
They really are. That was a good win for them. Okay, let's slide over to the Huron League to where we had Riverview at Airport. The Bucks won that game 51-28, a game they led 28-7 at one time, and then Airport ties it up at 28 with about 11 minutes, 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden, they got themselves a game, and then it's like the Bucks step on the gas. Thoughts there? I mean, the Riverview's offensive line is up for our quality performer of the week.
Right.
Just because, 533 yards on the ground and 7 touchdowns all on the ground. That's not all running back people. That's the offensive line and tight ends clearing the way.
Yeah. Riverview doesn't have the running backs that are going to get a lot of breakaway yardage on their own. They have tough running backs that'll get you the 2-3 extra yards off of contact.
Sure.
So, like a lot of Full House T teams, it's the offensive line that gets the job done. And boy, I tell you, Riverview, I've seen them firsthand, as have you.
Right now, I think they're the best team in the Huron League.
They're the best team, and boy, I tell you what, if they just stay healthy, Division III playoffs, look out. Carlson right now is in Division II. As we stand now, Carlson's Division II. That would be a great matchup, I think.
I think that's what you'll see is eventually the way it shakes out. Carlson will end up being Division III, and Riverview will be Division III as well, and those two will probably play unless Huron squeezes in there somehow, and depending on what goes on. But
great. Riverview's just 51 points. That's a ton of points. 533 yards, 7 touchdowns on the ground.
That's crazy.
That's just impressive.
And and Airport played pretty well offensively. I can't say that they played well defensively, but 51-28. That's
Yeah, but also you also got to say, you mentioned the comeback. That's big time coming back from 28-7.
It really
you
is.
can get buried at that point against that T because they're not going to slow down. And they came back tied up 28. Maybe used a little too much energy there. I don't know, but great win by Riverview at Airport.
Okay, next game we had was Jefferson at Milan. Milan wins 8-6, but the Bears basically led the entire game.
Yeah, 6-0. The whole
6-0, and then the Big Reds find a way to score, get a 2-point conversion, 8-6, win the game. Bears fall to 0-5. Probably the best 0-5 team around. I don't, I don't know what to say other than, they're right there.
Right.
And I keep saying it. We want the Bears to win.
Sure.
We want them to get a win.
Yeah.
They
don't want
deserve
anybody
one.
to go 0-9.
Yeah, they deserve a win. And somehow Jesse Hoskins with his 20 guy mash unit over there find a way to win the game.
I think it's just the difference of a team that knows how to win and a team that's learning how to win. And Jefferson right now is learning how to win. They've had 2 back-to-back weeks where, they just were right there to win the game. And when I mean right there, is they were winning in the very end. And great job by Milan. What can you say?
They won when they had to.
They're a mash unit, and they get a very much needed win. Their playoff hopes, I'm telling you, if they don't get that win, their playoff hopes are in big trouble at 2-3.
I agree.
But at 3-2, they're looking like they have a shot.
Well, the thing in the Huron League is there are no easy games.
No easy wins.
I don't think there's a great team, although Riverview's on the verge. But I don't think there's a really bad team either. I think they're all pretty good, and there's some parity in the Huron League. And you saw that in the next game when the Flat Rock Rams traveled over to the island.
The island, yeah.
And Grosse Hill beat them 20-17. There's a game right there where we've both seen Flat Rock a couple times, and it's just like, how do they lose that game?
Yeah.
But quite frankly, Grosse Hill just played a little bit better and won the game. And I think it's a game of matchups because, I know I like to say that Flat Rock doesn't have any burners. They don't have great speed, but they have good speed. Mm-hmm. But I think Grosse Hill matches that speed. And I think, maybe that was the difference. There were turnovers on both sides. There were special teams on both sides, some block punts by the Rams. But this is a game that could come back and haunt Flat Rock in their quest to make the playoffs for the first time in what is forever, really.
Yeah, this was a big one. Just like Milan's win was a big one, this loss for Flat Rock is a big one. And Grosse Hill is a big win. They keep their playoff hopes alive. Who knows what they can do? If they can beat Flat Rock, they can beat CC. They can beat the rest of the teams in the league, really. So we'll see what they do. But it was kind of a battle of 2 teams that sort of mirror each other. Good athletes. They run
coaches.
Good coaches, great coaches, And, they run the spread. They like to run the ball out of the spread, however. And they just kind of mirrored each other. And Grozeal and Bodner, they've been doing it just a little bit longer than Riem and Flat Rock, and they get the win on the island.
Yeah, that was a nice victory for them. So then our last game was the game that you called over at Huron, where the SMCC homeboys shocked the Chiefs 21-10.
Who called that, Chris?
You picked that, correct? You picked against the team you picked to win the Huron League.
Everyone,
I went with the Chiefs, which it made sense, but I think there was some subliminal motivation by you for the Falcons. Anyways, that game was 21-10. We're going to bring in a special guest to talk about that, and that is the gentleman who called the game, a 98.3 Nash icon, Jeff Grodi.
Yeah, the voice of Monroe, Jeff Grodi, play-by-play man.
Let's go to Jeff right now.
All right, welcome back. I'm Gary Hoff from Friday Night Victors, and I am here with the big guy, the voice of Monroe, the play-by-play on 98.3 Nash icon, Jeff Grodi. And he's my partner. I do the color, and he carries me on the radio. And we did the game this week of SMCC at Huron, the 1-3 Falcons versus the 4-0 Huron Chiefs. And Jeff, talk a little bit about that game, and maybe a little bit of how coming into the game, the feel we got from the fans and from the cheerleaders and everybody about what a big game it was. And
first of all, though, you take care of me, I don't take care of you.
Okay, sure.
You're the lead guy in that.
Okay.
Well,
go ahead.
It was great. It was, it's great to work for 98.3 and again being on Friday Night Victors. Thank you for having me. But coming into Huron was awful excited about that contest between the Falcons and the Chiefs. I felt like when we walked in the stadium, Arrowhead Stadium, that it was going to be quite a night. It was going to be a packed house, and there was going to be a lot of relatives and family. I think Huron was ready to celebrate, maybe a little bit premature against the Falcons.
That's kind of what the feeling we got. Well, they were excited. 4-0. Huron's never been 4-0 before. Thus never been 5-0. And CC was winning that rivalry at the time, 46 wins to 2. And anytime Huron can get a chance to be the favorite and beat CC, the folks are going to be excited.
We didn't really see the real Huron team either, I don't believe, in week 5. Because the team that I seen in Huron, I had read their clippings and seen some things going on from other people and heard other things, that this team was a lot better. This team didn't show up on Friday night against the Falcons. I don't think the best Huron team showed up.
Yeah, as we say that, though, Huron was in the game the entire game. They were winning in the start of the fourth quarter. So to say that we didn't see the real Huron team, that just shows you how good we think, and I certainly thought and think, how good Huron can be.
I thought Huron, coming in at 4-0, I thought Huron, I'm not saying they were not better, but they just weren't better on Friday night in week 5.
They weren't clicking on all cylinders.
No.
To me, they have a little bit of an identity issue. A lot of teams in the league, have experienced coaches. You know what they're going to bring. The team knows what they're going to bring. The fans know what they're going to bring. Huron right now, under first-year head coach Spies, he comes with a lot of accolades. Very good coach. He's doing a good job. Heck, they're 4-1. Huron, the folks at Huron should take that and be very happy with that. But I think the kind of, the lack of identity, or running, passing, or shotgun, under center. I mean, they throw a lot of things at you. But one thing we do know, they have a lot of really, really good players, and once they get that together, look out. And
again, we're talking a little bit too much about Huron because the Falcons did the job on the field.
That's right.
And that's where the game was played, on the field. We talk about Huron and how good they are and everything, but the Falcons went to Huron, did their job, took care of business on the field, and won that game. They carried the play the whole night.
They absolutely did. Although they weren't winning until the fourth quarter, the game kind of felt like CC was controlling it. They were doing their thing in the tee, getting their 3, 4, 5 yards a carry, controlling the ball, controlling the play on the field. Talk a little about Josh Blanchard. He had 2 touchdowns in the air, one at the quarterback for SMCC, 2 touchdowns in the air, 1 through the ground. What'd you see?
Well, Josh Blanchard played phenomenally well on Friday night. I mean, he was rolling out. His passes were right on. He hit Bryce Hyatt for a 26-yard pass for a touchdown. Then he hit on a 20-yard touchdown.
Yeah, that's Sherrard.
and then he had his 6-yard run.
Right.
He had a carry option and carried it into the end zone. So I mean, Josh Blanchard was right, left, and throwing the ball right on. When he does that, the Falcons are in good shape.
Yeah, and I talked a little bit in the write-up for the player of the game. I talked a little bit about I threw in there under his, Blanchard's accolades is 6 drawn offsides on Huron. And people might look at that and say, well, how is that a great thing? But it was 2nd and 10, 3rd and 5, and he drew them offsides to get back on down and distance or to get that first down. And SMCC Coach Kip was basically using that as a play.
Yeah.
And it worked like a gem.
Well, you use it till it doesn't work.
That's right.
And
That's right.
continue to work
6
over
times.
and over again.
6 times.
Well, let's talk about the Falcon defense while we have a few minutes.
Yeah.
The Falcon defense played great too. I mean, other than the 95-yard run by Spieth,
Yeah. That was it
it.
gets fast.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm not so sure Huron made the right decision at the end of the half not to go over the field goal with Atherton, but they decided to do it and they were stopped and didn't score. So, I mean, there's some questions there too, what happened. But, the Falcons overall played a great football game. Huron's going to come back. I think they got Milan this week, and I think they'll come back and win. I think they're that good a team.
Sure.
I just don't think we've seen the real New Boston Huron team on Game 5. Taking nothing away again from the Falcons played an excellent football game.
Yeah.
And like I told you on Friday night, the playoffs ran through New Boston because that was a big win for the Falcons.
And excellent game by Coach Kip. Excellent called game.
Yeah.
And we'll end it there. That's
Well, I want to tell you a little bit about the water temperature story because I hear that from all the fans for the last 40 years. Real quick, the water temperature, Dale Peruka and Jefferson in 1976 says, Jeff, he says, you got to have something that people remember you by. You got to say something like the Michigan guy we used to talk about, Slippery Rock and Shippensburg State used to announce that game at Michigan games.
Right.
Well, he says, you got to have something you remember you by. So when I started the water temperature on Lake Erie, 41 years later, people still remember that and ask me what the water temperature is.
That's what you're remembered by.
Yeah,
almost.
that's it.
The water temperature. I get texts all the time telling me the water temperature when we're doing the game for this game.
Yeah. So that's the story. That way I don't have to tell it again.
Well, thanks for joining us, Jeff.
Thanks for having me.
That's going to wrap it up for our Week 5 wrap up here from Quality Inn, and we'll see you next week.